before I go too much further on a few things. So good morning, happy Thursday. All right, we'll pop it off so that you can hear me. And I'm going to share my screen so that you see what we're talking about. And I'm just a little scatterbrained today because I just about forgot to post our bell ringer question. I am a hot mess today for sure. I think it's because I haven't been sleeping good. We got a puppy for Christmas. It's like having a new baby, and she like keeps waking up at like 3 a.m. I'm like, no, just be quiet.
Miss Walker.
Yes.
So is our bell ringer, is it actually worth 100 points, or do you just have to put that, but it's kind of just here for like a check-in? Like, does it count as an actual grade?
At the end of the 6 weeks, it'll be put in as like a participation grade as long as you've been doing them. But it's kind of double. It helps me to make sure that everybody's checking in and you're here and all the things, especially on Fridays, since we don't Zoom on Fridays. But yeah, it'll count as both.
Okay, I was just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah.
And what kind of puppy did you get?
It's a miniature Aussie Doodle.
Oh my goodness.
She's the cutest thing, but just she doesn't want to sleep right now. I need to sleep.
Theirs has lots of energy. Like she's all over the place.
Yeah, she's a ball of fire.
Yeah.
That is.
If I was you, because my dog has really bad anxiety, you know the hemp store that was beside where Delishi was, but now it's Ohana. It closed down, but you can order some online. They're CBD dog treats, and it helps, calm them down or whatever, even though like puppies are very energetic, but they also sleep better and longer. It doesn't get them high, but it like relaxes them, and it's not bad for them. It's actually pretty good for them.
That is interesting. That is very
good. Just a thought.
Right? I hear you. I'm all for it. God, it's hot. Jeez, it got up to 64 degrees in here.
Oh, wow. That's really hot.
It's so hot. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's do the bell ringer, and then I want to talk to you about a few things before we get going really quick. All right. So tell me this. This is a review from yesterday. It is going to be one of the big sections that's going to be on your unit quiz. That's also going to be on a unit combo test coming up after that, plus midterm, all the things. How did the Spanish-American War end, and what did the Treaty of Paris include? Okay. So let's summarize. Spanish-American War is going to end after just 90 days. That's it, 90 days. It ends after just 90 days of fighting in 1898. The United States wins. We are successful in giving or assisting in giving Cuba their independence. And then let's talk about the pieces that make up the Treaty of Paris. All right, Treaty of Paris includes, number one, giving Cuba their independence. Number two, getting kind of like our prize. Our prize for helping is going to be getting Puerto Rico and Guam as territories. And we have our eyes on yet another prize, but we are going to purchase the Philippines for $20 million. We see it as an opportunity as we're working on, building our empire. We see it as an opportunity for a naval base. We see it as an opportunity for resources, land, trade, all the things. So that's just kind of a quick summary, because we really didn't spend, but like a day and a half talking about a war. Unfortunately, it's just because we don't have time to go in depth on it, but it is pretty short, quick, to the point, 90 days, and it's over. Okay, now we're going to be pretty fast today because we don't really have that much information to finish up on. For the most part, this is a pretty quick section going over imperialism and us becoming a world power. All right, so if you have the packet of notes, it's on page 52. We talked about the first couple of boxes, and today we're going to finish going over a couple of key pieces of information, talking about the presidents that are in power, what it is that they're doing to establish us as a world power. But before I go too much further, a couple of things, a couple of quick reminders of what is coming up. Okay. Oh, don't like egg my car or anything, but I was looking at the class calendar, and I don't ever like any days feeling like they're not necessarily a waste, but we could be doing more and getting in and getting it done. That being said, I am gonna push us just up a day. All right. If you have the class calendar, if you even looked at it, Monday, we're supposed to be just turning in stuff. And then Tuesday was going to be your quick little unit quiz. And when I say quick, it was comparable to your unit quiz that we did Monday. Is that right? Monday was the quiz. It's awful. They're all running together. I can't keep up with it. But anyway, but it will be pretty short and quick. So again, I'm telling you in advance, we're going to scoot everything up a day because and here's my logic in that, because we are going to finish up everything for 14 today. We are going to finish up your IDs. We are finishing up your packet. And I would strongly encourage you to just go ahead and submit everything so you don't forget, and it's already done and it's one less thing to have to worry about. And that being said, we can get in all of 15, because 15 is just as short as this. 15 doesn't even have any questions. 15 just has a set of IDs that you're going to define. So 15 is pretty short and quick, so that we can get all of 15 in and have a good stopping point before you get a nice 3-day weekend next week, right? So we got President's Day coming up, not next Monday, but the Monday after. So I would really like to do it that way. That way we have a nice clean stopping point. And when we come back from your 3-day weekend, which don't forget that week is weird, because that Tuesday has now been made into an all virtual day for everybody. And then that Wednesday is A day, that Thursday is B day, and then Friday we're virtual. So don't forget that.
Why is Tuesday? Oh, because we're virtual Monday and the days wouldn't even out.
I'm not really sure like why they decided to make that Tuesday an all virtual day for everybody.
Was it
I'm sure
already
somebody
virtual?
told me. It might have been, because I know
Like
the
one that's
state,
been scheduled or whatever.
yeah, because the state does require that we have like 6 virtual days scheduled in our calendar for all anyway. I don't know. It's a mess to have to explain, and they just wanted everybody to have an equal opportunity, that they didn't think it was fair if it was just B days that got to come that week. You know what I'm saying? So
This feels like the 4-week.
anyway,
4-day week.
what?
The
4 days, you
opportunity
can
to
go like 4 days.
be here for 4 days.
Oh yeah. Have they said when that starts?
No, he just sent out an email yesterday, like asking if we would do that.
I saw the email, but I haven't heard like when they're hoping to instate it.
He made a video.
Did he say it in the video?
I don't think he said the date. He said come up and I'll figure it out as quick as I can.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I just work here. I don't know. I just work here. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so yeah, that's coming. That is coming as well, which I'm super excited about, because it gets pretty lonely. Or there's only a few of us. It gets lonely. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that is what's coming. And then I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Oh, I know what else I was going to say. I'm finishing up everything for 13 today. The only thing that you were missing in Power School was that 13 immigration packet. So I'm just behind. I'm getting that in and done. And I got to hurry and make sure I get 14 stuff in and done, because next Friday is the cutoff for the first 6 weeks. Yeah, this is week 5. Next week is week 6. We're already the first 6 weeks in. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So there we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Questions, comments, or concerns before we, yep.
So the music video is still due Monday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited about those.
I'm not.
Excited. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's do it. All right. So here's where, I forgot. I'm not sharing with the rest of my people. I'm not sharing. I'm so sorry. That's not the right button either. Jeez. The struggle is real, people. The struggle is real. There it is. I got it. Here we go. All right. So this is only going to take us a few minutes, because this is the only stuff that I didn't wrap up on the other day. So here's what I got for you. All right. China during this time period is a very weak nation. And we kind of see this opportunity. Everybody sees the opportunity to jump in on China and start going after their natural resources, because geographically they are a huge country. And so we kind of see dollar signs flashing before our eyes, opportunity for all the things, natural resources, business, trade, all that. So we talk about the sphere of influence in China. We have, where's he at? Our Secretary of State, there he is. John Hay is going to go work us out a deal, and we are very much just kind of bullying them. We're like, you know, you really want to do business with us, all right? And we kind of push them over the edge into doing it, but China is like, all right, now listen, if we're going to do trade with you guys, we're going to open it up to other countries, because we thought we were going to be able to work out just a one-way deal of, hey, why don't you just do trade with us? But they're like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it with everybody. So anyway, we call it the open door policy. You are going to see this as a quiz question. So anytime you see open door policy, make sure that you immediately associate that with China. That's what it is. And the reason why it's called that is because that's what John Hay referred to it as in his letter back to McKinley and the administration back home. He called it the open door note. And so that the name just kind of stuck, right? Open door policy says now all countries can trade with China. It officially opens up in 1899. Again, John Hay is the guy that's going to work out that deal for us. And we are trying to push our influence. And again, that's why we call it the sphere of influence. We're trying to push our influence on other foreign nations to open up the doors for trade. Again, because of resources, money, opportunity. We're trying to continue with us being this big world power. Now, after we're working out all these deals, Roosevelt is just a really cool guy. Some people love him, some people hate him, but Roosevelt, here's another fun fact. He is actually going to win a Nobel Peace Prize. So don't forget, during McKinley's second term in office, he's going to get assassinated. And then Roosevelt, who's his VP during that second term, is going to be, quote, the man that gets kicked upstairs and become president. Well, while he is president, he is going to be a negotiator in the Russia-Japanese War. So here's what happens. Russia and Japan both get into a fight. They both see China as being an opportunity, and they both want to actually look into taking over China, because both countries, and I know you're thinking like Russia really geographically is huge, but did you know that there's actually not much land in Russia that is inhabitable? Because if you look at where they're located, a lot of their land is so close to, the Arctic. Yep, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay. So because of that, a lot of their land actually is inhabitable. So they're looking for bigger resources. And then we also know that Japan, being this little island nation, is also limited on their natural resources. So everybody sees China as kind of this little baby gazelle, because their government really is very weak during this time period, and they see it as, it's kind of like, oh my God, quick story. I was watching the Discovery Channel one time, and this family of, family of cheetahs had adopted this little baby gazelle. And I thought it was the cutest thing, because the baby cheetah was like chasing the baby gazelle, and they were playing like tag. And I thought, this is a beautiful thing, right? This is a beautiful thing. And I keep watching, and then a few seconds later, the baby cheetahs start attacking and like killing the baby gazelle. And I'm like, no, it's not what I thought was going to happen. I thought this was going to be a great story. It's not. This is awful. But anyway, we kind of see China as this baby gazelle, and everybody wants to attack them and, just take their resources. But anyway, China, we are able to assist and keep them at bay. And again, Roosevelt's going to win a Nobel Peace Prize for his negotiating skills to keep Russia and Japan back in their corners, so to speak. Okay, what about the Panama Canal? Here's a fun fact, right? If we are expanding our territories, right? We now have Alaska, we've got Hawaii, we've got the Philippines. We need to be able to, if something happens, be able to respond quickly and get to all of our other territories. Well, let's say that we're trying to get a battleship from the East Coast to the West Coast. and this is all before we had the Panama Canal, we would have to go all the way around South America. All right, that's going to take forever. We can't do that. We need a shortcut. And guess what the Panama Canal is going to offer us? It's going to offer us a shortcut. All right, and vice versa, right? If you're going from West Coast to East Coast. So the Panama Canal, here's another fun fact. The Panama Canal, we were not the first ones into looking at constructing a canal. The French actually were the first to attempt it. But they had so many people die of disease and injuries that they just quit. They stopped construction on it, okay? Well, as time is going on, our technology is getting better and we do see the opportunity to go after it again. But here's a problem. Panama is part of Colombia. So, how can we work this out? Colombia is like, nah, we're good. We don't want anybody else coming in trying to do that again. We've been there, we've done that. But here's the thing, we hear that the Panamanese want to rebel and they want to become their own country and get rid of Colombia. So we're like, ooh, this is perfect. It kind of makes me think of the Grinch in those movies. You know, that big old smile that comes on his face, like the evil smile, right? So we see the opportunity, hey, what if we assist the Panamanese to fight and get away from Colombia and get their independence? Then we can rub elbows with them and say, hey, we helped you get your independence. Why don't you let us do what? Build a canal, all right? And that's exactly how it goes down, all right? So Theodore Roosevelt is going to send in the U.S. Navy. We assist them in getting their independence. Look at this, 10 years. 10 years, that's how long this sucker takes to construct and complete and be up and running. And again, the reason is very similar to that as to why the French struggled so bad. Disease and accidents, this is considered very much one of the modern marvels of the construction process because it takes a lock system, because the ocean levels are not the same in the Atlantic versus the Pacific. So we got to figure out, if we have a ship that's down here, how are we going to get it to where it's up here once it goes out on the Pacific Ocean? So we construct a lock system to where these massive cruise ships, tankers, battleships, to where they come in, we close down doors, and we're going to flood water in to raise it up. So it goes into the first lock, we raise it up. Goes into the second lock, we raise it up. Goes into the third lock, we raise it up. So by the time it gets out of the very end, it is now on the same water level, and vice versa, depending on which direction that's going. It's pretty cool. Did you know that? No? You did know that?
I know the lock system.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. All right. Smarty britches. Yep. But that's still pretty cool. It's still pretty impressive that during this point in time they can come up with that type of technology. But again, a lot of accidents, a lot of disease. We had soldiers die from these diseases during the Spanish-American War. What are the two diseases? Julian, I think you said both of them yesterday, didn't you?
Malaria and
Yellow fever, but yeah, all of those were big issues as to why we are losing people on the construction site. And you should know that this is all part of Roosevelt's, what he calls his big stick policy. And he says, speak softly, but carry a big stick. And what he means by that is, if you're going to talk the talk, you better be willing to walk the walk, right? If you're going to say you're going to do something, you better actually do it. And he does. All right, so here he is. He comes to check out the construction of the Panama Canal. There he is. All right, who goes out on a construction site in like a 5-piece white suit? This guy right here does. Yeah, so there he is. He's got his white hat. He's got, well, I think it looks like he's got his jacket off, but he's got his white shirt, his white vest, his nice white pants. It makes sense, right? But anyway, he goes out to check out the construction process. He's sitting on that big giant crane, seeing how everything's going, all right? So anyway, here it is. Here's his foreign policy. I do want you to make sure that you star this. He creates the Roosevelt Corollary. And the Roosevelt Corollary simply says that we will be the only nation to intervene in what we call our neighborhood. So in Central and South America, he's kind of building on the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine, established in 1820, that says that no other nation should interfere in our hemisphere or our neighborhood. So he builds on that and says if somebody does, then we will assist. We'll send in our military. We'll do what needs to be done. And then we also see other foreign policies kind of build on this from the presidents that come in afterwards. Taft, who comes in after Roosevelt, is going to use dollar diplomacy. And he says if those neighboring countries need money, we will send financial assistance. And then Wilson, who comes in after Taft, and Wilson will also be the president that gets us into World War I. Wilson says the exception to the rule, we will not send in military assistance or give financial assistance if those countries are trying to do anything illegally. So he calls that his moral diplomacy. So he said, we will help and assist as long as it's not, issues with terrorism or issues with drugs or issues with doing anything illegal. He said, there are some exceptions to the rule in which we will come in and help. But Roosevelt is also going to be the guy that's going to push for us to build and construct a huge, massive, brand spanking new Navy. And he has all these battleships built and painted bright whites. And he goes and parades them all around Europe and through the Pacific. He has them stop and pull into port at all major ports around the world. Why would he do that? What would be the reason for that move? Show of power, exactly. And that's what this guy is all about. All right. So like I said, speak softly and carry a big stick. Don't just say that we're big and powerful and strong and capable. He wants to show everybody that we're not somebody that you want to mess with. We might be a baby country compared to all these other great nations around the world that have been up and running for a while, but we can hold our own. All right, so let's wrap up. Last thing before we got to move on for today. So a couple of things. The U.S. is officially a world power at the turn of the century. Again, we have the natural resources, we have the money, we have the labor force. But there's a big debate on whether or not this is a good thing. We have those people that are anti-imperialist. Is it power and duty over democracy? Again, are we doing the right thing by all these people that we're trying to take over and control? Think about Hawaii. Think about the Philippines. Think about all those other issues that we've been having. The idea of social Darwinism, the idea that the strongest countries will survive, is that the best mentality versus doing things that are immoral, right? Think about the Philippines. The Filipinos fought us in a civil war because they wanted to be left the heck alone. And we were willing to fight and kill them for 3 years because, yes, you do need us. You do need an education. You do need all this new technology, So again, very similar story as to what we talked about with what happened to the Hawaiians, Native Americans, and other immigrants. There's a lot of countries around the world, unfortunately, that have anti-U.S. feelings. They don't care for our hunger for power and wealth and opportunity. Again, we've already talked about the disaster of the Philippines, Latin America. They very much feel like we are a very pushy next door neighbor, that we're trying to extend our power over them. And then here's an interesting guy, Pancho Villa. Pancho Villa is kind of known as the Robin Hood of Mexico, to where he very much does steal from the rich to give to the poor. But what's going to cause problems is that Pancho Villa, who is trying to do what he thinks is the best interest for his people in Mexico, is going to make the mistake of coming across the border into the United States and tearing up and messing with U.S. citizens' property and territory. And we send in our army to go after this guy, and he leads them on like a wild goose chase. And we end up having to give up because 1915, 1916, what are we watching instead of worrying about this guy? World War I. Yeah. So anyway, very interesting guy. And one thing that I usually do at the very beginning, and we just didn't have time in which to do it, is there used to be a TV show, Deadliest Warrior. And I don't know why they picked, they had a scenario of like cowboy versus Indian, and I usually would show a clip of it when we're trying to go over the Wild West. But they picked Pancho Villa as the cowboy in the scenario. And it's Crazy Horse as the Indian. Now, it's a bad mix because they're not even the same time period as one another. But anyway, I'm not going to argue that fact. But they talk about Pancho Villa, and they talk about how his strategy and how he was able to do so much for the Mexican people, not so much whenever he tried to do stuff in the United States. So anyway, you can actually Google those clips. They're pretty interesting to watch. I don't agree with some of the matchups they put together, but anyway. Let's do it. Let's knock it out. So we are finishing everything. We're finishing section 3, IDs and SQs. We're finishing section 3 in your packet, and we're even going to look at one of those extra pages as well. So we're going to wrap up everything today. Again, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and turn it in so that you don't even have to worry about it anymore after this. Okay, let's do it. IDs and SQs are first. All right, number 21. We started with this today. What was the purpose of the open door policy? Trade with who? That's all you need to know. Trade with who? China. That's all you got to put. Trade with China for 21. Trade with China. All right, 22 says, why did President Theodore Roosevelt want to increase U.S. influence overseas? Well, what's the whole point? What is the whole point concept of imperialism? Power. Yeah, power and money really are the top ones. Yeah, power and money for number 22. That's what we're doing. Trying to what? Flex on them, right? Am I using that right? I don't know. I'm trying. Okay. All right, 23 says, why did the U.S. decide to build a canal through Panama? Short, simple, and quick. What is the number one reason? The canal acts as a what? Passage shortcut, right? Yeah, shortcut. It's a shortcut for us to be able to quickly and easily get our battleships, carriers, even cruise ships, things like that from East Coast to West Coast and back again. All right, 24, how did Roosevelt assist Panama in becoming independent? What did we send them? What did we send to help them? Specifically the Navy. We sent the U.S. Navy. There you go, 24, sent the U.S. Navy. All right, last question, 25 says, why did President Wilson intervene in Mexico? Who are we looking for? Who was that guy we called the Robin Hood of Mexico? Pancho Villa. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if you need to know, how to spell his name, he's number 30 on your list. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got excited. I answered before y'all did. All right, part 2 says, how did Latin America's view Wilson's moral diplomacy?
That's not on here.
Uh-oh.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Go to the
Well, online, the last one was, why did President Wilson,
It's the second part of 25.
the sphere of influence?
No, the second part of 25.
Oh, sorry. I can't see. Thanks.
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, so it's a combo question. They're all together. So yeah, part 2 to that question. How did Latin Americans view Wilson's moral diplomacy? How do you think they took us trying to put our opinion on how they should run their country? You think they took that very well?
Probably not.
Yeah, no, they didn't like it. So yeah, I don't know. That's not probably the best way to word that response. But yeah, they didn't like us trying to push on them our opinion of how they should do things. Yeah, I'm sure you could probably word that just a little bit better. But I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. Last but not least, let's wrap up on these IDs. Again, sphere of influence is what we talked about today in your notes. And sphere of influence is just simply influencing another country's how can we word this? Choices, influencing another country's choices. '27 Boxer Rebellion is a revolution in China. 27 Boxer Rebellion. And I'm not going to test you or quiz you on that. I probably needed to even take this off the IDs because I don't really talk about it. But we did talk about 28 Roosevelt corollary. You can just put Roosevelt's foreign policy to summarize Roosevelt's foreign policy. But you do need to know what it means that we will use military force in our quote neighborhood if needed. But it is Roosevelt's foreign policy. All right, last two. Dollar diplomacy is Taft's foreign policy, but here's what you can put for the answer or definition. Using financial assistance. Using financial assistance to help our neighbors. And last but not least, number 30, Pancho Villa is a Mexican rebel. We'll just put that to summarize. Mexican rebel, very interesting guy. Pancho Villa.
Not named that in High Point.
Really?
Yeah, Mexican restaurant Pancho Villas.
Well,
That sounded familiar.
yeah, well, it makes sense. Again, a lot of Mexicans see him as a hero. Again, the Robin Hood of Mexico. So yeah, that's interesting. Didn't know that. All right, let's wrap up on that packet and we will be finished with our section on imperialism. So here's what we got. 14-3, the guided reading is quick, short, simple. It's fill in the blank. It won't take us but a few minutes to go through. And then all that is left is that timeline page and then the content vocabulary. I'll check my time, and if we still have a few minutes, we might go ahead and bust that out as well. All right, guided reading 14-3. Again, all it is fill in the blank, so just follow along with me. It says the nation's primary interest in American business leaders, especially those in the textile, oil. Oh, did I read? Anyway, number 1 is industries. I think I started reading 2 different things. It is what it is. But number 1 is industries. Number 2, in the 1894 war between China and Japan over Korea. Again, they're looking at land and opportunity. Japan easily defeats China and gained territory in Manchuria. Number 3, who was it that got into an argument with Japan? It is Russia for number 3. Russia forced Japan to give its newly acquired territory back to China. Number 4, the U.S. proposed an open door. That's your answer for number 4. Open door. Open door policy, which would allow all countries to trade with China. All right, section 2 says Theodore Roosevelt believed in a strong global military presence. And number 5 says Roosevelt and others viewed the construction of a canal through Central America. That's where it's located, Central America. I had to squeeze it in. I'm sorry. Some of these blanks are really small. They viewed Central America as vital to American power in the world. Number 6, in 1903, the U.S. recognized the independence of
Cuba. No.
Panama. Not that you're not wrong, but that had already happened. 1903 was Panama.
That's the first thing I thought of. So I just said,
Panama. Yeah, because we're focusing on what we talked about today. We did talk about Cuba, but not today.
sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Number 7, the Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine said that the U.S. would intervene in Latin America. Again, those are our neighbors. Latin America. Intervene in Latin American affairs when necessary to maintain economic and political stability. Number 8, the U.S. first applied the Roosevelt Corollary in the Dominican Republic. We hadn't really talked about them much, but Dominican Republic for number 8, which had fallen behind on its debt payments to Europe. And section 3, Wilson believed in moral diplomacy and tried to encourage democracy in Latin America. Number 9 says shortly after Woodrow Wilson took office as president in 1913, Hiroto seized power in Latin America. That's your answer for number 9, Latin America. Number 10 says in April of 1914, American soldiers were sent. That's your answer, sent. That should be to Mexico. I don't know why. Anyway. Wilson saw Mexico's refusal to apologize as an opportunity to overthrow Hiroto. And number 11 says in 1916, Wilson sent General John Pershing to capture this guy. Who is he? Robin Hood. Pancho Villa. Yep. Number 11, Pancho Villa. And we're not going to do 12. We didn't talk about it. I'm not going to quiz you on it. Yeah, so we're just going to not worry about 12. That's all. So all that is left, because we've done the other pages, did your story the other day. So all that's left is your content vocabulary, which is just matching some of that vocab. And Julian, I think when I was looking at yours the other day, I think I might have messed you up on a couple of these.
Yeah, some of them sound like the exact same.
Yeah, I really hate that, because some of these vocab words and their definitions are super duper similar. Like you have to look for like key words to let you know that it's one versus the other. So let's run through that content vocabulary. It says becoming a world power. Let's run through this, because like I said, I think I got you messed up on it the other day when I was looking back at it. All right,
What
let's.
was 12?
Hold on.
She said we're not doing 12.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, don't worry. We're not talking about it. We're not quizzing on it. Don't worry about it. All right, let's do the matching. Let's do the matching on that vocab page. Number 1 says independent country that is actually under the control of another country. Think of this as Puerto Rico and Guam. They are protectorates. Yeah. So G for that one. And then number 2, extreme nationalism. Those are your 2 key words for this one. Extreme nationalism. And we actually did the definition for this one, I think yesterday. Jingoism. That's a fun word to say. Jingoism. That's D. Number 3, joining a country's business interest with its diplomatic interest abroad is going to be A, dollar diplomacy. And again, you're just looking for keywords there. Diplomatic's the keyword there. Number 4, actions by one nation to exercise political or economic control over a smaller, weaker one. Imperialism. Yeah, H for that one. Imperialism. All right, number 5, you'll find the key word in number 5 pretty easily. Number 5, policy that allowed each foreign nation in China to trade freely. Yeah, so B, open door policy. Again, China is the key word in that one. All right, C, armed fighters who use surprise attacks. Surprise attacks are the key words. C, guerrilla. Yeah, guerrilla warfare is what that is. So C. Number 7, section of the country where one foreign nation enjoyed special rights and powers. And that's talking about F, sphere of influence. And 8, a people's right to have their own government. It's talking about E, autonomy. Yeah, so again, a lot of those, you just got to look for keywords to figure out what in the heck it's looking for the answer. Yep. So anyway, number 9 is just wanting you to explain exactly what yellow journalism is. That's just exaggerating the truth. And those guys used it really to help sell newspapers and get us jacked up about getting into the war. But anyway, And then all that's left is doing the, those 6 questions on state expansion. All right, has anybody got any questions? Again, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and get these done and turned in today, so you don't have to worry about it. Friday, make sure that you are doing your, what is it called? Bell ringer question check-in. Yeah. Anybody need me? Questions, comments, or concerns? If not, happy Thursday. All right, bye guys.